Okay, hopefully this works. I have like 87,000 windows open, and I'm trying to see if this is coming through. And it looks like I am actively live, so that is good. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I do have slow mode on right now, but y'all can add comments in the chat and I'll be able to see you. And hopefully everything on Inkscape is looking good. Keep in mind, I am running 2 monitors, so I have the ability to kind of switch between just my webcam and the live stream, but I think everything is good. I'm just going to test the chat real quick to see if this is going to pop up in, hey, my OBS. I haven't used, hey Lisa, I haven't used OBS to do this before, so it's a learning curve for me, but I'm tired of going on Facebook Live because I only have so much interaction on there. Anyways, so I got a message from somebody today. It's driving them back crazy. I'm going to try not to cuss too. It's been driving them crazy, and they're trying to get this design, this particular design, into a cuttable format where each one of these little pieces here can be cut out singularly. There's a few ways that you can go about this, but like one of them, just the quality really isn't that great. So Inkscape does have this really cool feature called centerline tracing in the trace bitmap function. So if you were to go to path, trace bitmap, that will open up your trace bitmap panel. And under the single scan option, there is a centerline tracing. I'm going to show you all what that looks like. The quality is not that great though. So it's just not something that, well, you'll see. Okay, so I don't really mess with any of these settings here. Sometimes if a picture is ridiculously grainy, I will adjust the speckles, but you can see a preview here. Now you're probably going to be a little shocked when you see this. Anyways, I'm just going to click apply. All right, so I'm going to move this guy off, and you'll see that what Inkscape has done is it has created literally a single line. These are just strokes outline of this particular design, okay? And the issue with this is that I really feel like the carrot is a little phallic. So when I first did this before, as I was getting ready for this video, I was like, this is not going to work for me. It's also really painful to go in and edit. It's not impossible, but if you'll double click on something like this, you'll see all of the nodes. And how this would cut out is whatever software you're using, particularly in this case, it would be for a Glowforge, it would just cut this line out versus the double line cutting that Lisa explained that she was getting, which you don't want for a Glowforge, because a lot of the times with that laser, what will happen is if you have the stroke being cut out around, it's just going to burn that wood. And you definitely don't want that because it's going to look like not good. Okay. So you could isolate this by starting to delete nodes off of these lines. And again, it's really painful. So if I was to select this node, I can actually break the path. So you can break these paths. You see how that works? And I can delete that, and that will make it smoother. These 2 lines just came out of nowhere, and I'll break the path again here. I'm just going up to this toolbar up here, and you can see all these different little nodey things. All these icons have changed in version 1.2, so it's a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to working with still. I'm still getting used to all of these, but if you hover over them, you can see what they are. And I'm in the process of updating the Inkscape course right now, where I'll actually be going through a lot more node editing. So I think at this point I have officially broken the phallic carrot away from the snowman. But what you're going to have to do to get this completely broken apart is go to path break apart, and you'll see that it broke this thing up into like a gajillion pieces. All right. So you could ideally take the phallic carrot and then go to path, combine, and then bring that into Silhouette Studio, right? So I'll show you what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and cut our phallic carrot out of here. I'm going to go to File, New. I'm going to paste it in another document. I'll bring that up. I'm not doing anything with my settings right now, y'all. I just want to show you what this looks like. I'm going to save it as a test piece, and I'm just going to go to DXF. I don't really think there's a huge difference between R12 and R14. Honestly, I don't work with DXF too much, so I'm not sure of the difference, but I can certainly find out if anybody is curious. Where's my Silhouette Studio? There it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. That's not the one I wanted. Let's go back down to the DXF. Okay, so you can see this is legit one stroke. So if I was to go click on send, okay, it's only going to cut this one piece out. All right, so ideally that's what we're looking for in the Glowforge world, right? But this just looks crappy. It looks horrible. So we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to go back to Inkscape, and we're going to get rid of this snowman. So centerline tracing can be okay. You just have to do a ton of node work, and is it going to be worth it for you? Probably not. So you're going to want to utilize brightness cutoff for this if you're using a coloring book page. Now, Lisa, you did pull this off of Google. Not something that I necessarily recommend, okay? It could land you in some sort of trademark or copyright snafu. You want to make sure whatever files you're pulling or utilizing that you're at least getting commercial use rights for. So that's very important to keep in mind when you're going through this. I would hate to see anybody get in trouble for this or in hot water. You guys probably constantly hear me tout this on the channel. So just be very mindful when you're pulling images off of Google. You can go to places like Design Bundles and things like that and get commercial use files that are similar to this. And even on Etsy, there are some artists out there that allow commercial use where you can kind of split them apart and use your creativity here. But anyways, we can't do anything with this because it's just a JPEG, so we're going to have to trace it. I'm going to move it here. I usually try to bring my threshold up as far as I can. And bringing up this high is just, it makes it look horrible. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to bring this down to about 15. And tracing is one of those things where you just kind of have to practice with it. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. All right, let me go ahead and click on apply there. Yeah, Lisa, that's not a problem. A lot of people are very new and they don't know the ins and outs of copyright and trademark. So a big thing that people will see is there's a bunch of people on Etsy selling Disney files, Marvel files, like any popular cartoons that the kids are watching, right? They're selling these invitations, these clip arts, you know, whatever it may be. And they think it's okay because everybody else is doing it, but it's not. The shops are going to get shut down. There's a lot of legal ramifications that can tie into it. And so it's just really not worth it. I am not an artist at all by any means, but I have learned over the years, you know, and I've been doing graphic design for quite some time, how to manipulate shapes to make other shapes. And so there's definitely ways around it. But just, I strongly encourage everybody to ask the questions in the group. So there's about 3,000 of us in the Facebook group. If you don't like Facebook, that's fine. You can always email me with any questions, and I really don't care if people text me either because I never sleep. But anyway, that's besides the point. Always ask questions. Don't just assume because somebody else is doing it that it's okay. I learned that the hard way in the beginning. I wasn't silly enough to utilize Disney and Marvel, but I did get some copyright infringements and had to have some things taken down. So, all right, we got our trace here. Now here is the issue with the particular trace if we were to just send this to Glowforge. So let's just say we wanted to send this to Glowforge as is, okay? And I'm going to delete that off for now. I'm going to go ahead and save this so y'all can see what this looks like in Silhouette Studio. So I'm just going to save this as Snowman SVG. Better yet, let me save it as DXF since that's the file type you're working in. And we will open it up. There it is. And while that's opening, I'm going to go ahead and turn my AC down because it is blazing hot in my basement. Okay, so you can see if you were to just cut this thing out as is, it's just full of lines. So if I was to click on send, you can see all these little red lines are where it would be cutting out in the Glowforge. So you would have all of these open spaces. Basically, this blue line would be your wood, and everything else would be, you know, able to be detached. That's not what we want. That's not the intent. All right, let me get this AC kicked down. It is so hot down here. I live in Georgia, so it has been ungodly warm. 90 degrees today. But anyways, okay. So we do not want this. All right. So to get what we want, we're going to go back. And I'm just going to duplicate this. To do that, I can hit Control D to duplicate. And I'm going to move him over. And I'm keeping a duplicated copy because I'll show you what we're going to do. All right. Let's say that we want to isolate the carrot, okay? What you're going to want to do is isolate just the carrot, okay? So what I tend to do is I will draw, oh my settings are all out of whack right now. Let me turn this stroke off. And let me go to, well, I'll fix that later. I'll deal with that later. Okay. Those are my settings. I've been working on course content, so all my settings are like super crazy. I'm going to bring the opacity down. All right. And I'm just going to zoom in here so you can see this. All right. So I have this rectangle over this one particular piece that I want to cut out. And you can see why I said this is time consuming. Because if you're looking to do this for, you know, virtually everything, it's going to take a little bit of time. So that's pretty good. Now what you're going to want to do is, while you have this selected, hold down your Shift key. Hopefully you're working with Windows. And click on the snowman so that you have both selected and go to Path Intersection. Now that is going to isolate the majority of that carrot. What you're going to want to do now is double click on it. This will bring up the nodes, okay? And the nodes are what you're going to want to edit, okay? So you can do this in a few different ways. Usually what I'll do is I will select as many as I can and just delete them off. I'm going to delete this one off. And then here, I'm just going to go up here to make this a corner. And I'm going to make this one a corner. And that's going to kind of smooth that out, right? And you're going to do the same thing down here just to get this a little bit off. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. I'm going to make that one a corner. Oops. Sometimes they're really jam hard to see. So you got to like really zoom in. And I'm going to make this one a corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete these 4 nodes. And I'm going to make this one a corner and this one a corner. All right, so I got it pretty well smoothed out. Now, again, if I was to send this to Silhouette Studio as a DXF, it's going to cut out here and it's going to cut out here. Okay, yeah, Lisa, it took me a second when we were talking earlier. I was at work and I was like, oh God, I think I know what she means, but I don't have the time to comprehend this. So, all right, if we were to send this to Silhouette Studio right now, no good. What we want is the outline of this shape in its entirety. So we're going to make it a solid shape. How do we do that? We're going to select it. We're going to go to Path, Break Apart. Also, this video will be on my YouTube channel after I'm done, so you can come back and watch it. Okay? You're going to have 2 pieces. We're not done yet. And then right after you do that, you're just going to go to Path, Union. Okay? Now you have one solid piece. So if you were to save this right now, which I already did previously, that's the message I sent you before, you can just go ahead and open it up. And that was that test piece 2. And this is what will look like, one solid piece, and you will be able to click send and send that through. So now that we've done an easy piece of said snowman, okay, I'm going to show you how to do the background, the big background. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate him again. Control D to duplicate, all right? Going to bring him over. So the entire background cutout is going to be really simple. You don't have to isolate anything. All you have to do is go to Path, Break Apart, okay? And then you're just going to click anywhere until that big bounding box moves away, and then click delete. All right, the reason why I say that is because this legit is just an outline. And that is the outline of your snowman. So if I was to color this red, you will see, well, I'm going to have to bring him up to the top. Hold on. that is going to fit over. I don't have my snapping on. There we go. Now that I have my snapping on, you can see the carrot's going to fit right over this outline, okay? Because the outline is legitimately this guy, and we pulled this off of this here. And I'm presuming this is what you're trying to achieve with this particular design, is to get all these guys connected. So we'll move that over for now. Let's do something a little bit harder. Okay, exactly. It makes me feel good that I understood what you're saying. Let's see. The hat. Okay, that's an interesting one, right? Because you have the bottom part of the hat, the top part of the hat, and the ball, or the toque, as people like to say. So would you want your customer to be able to cut the hat out and then paint it how they wish? That's what that's what I was thinking when I was going through this, is just kind of like a little puzzle that people can paint, you know? And if that's the case, fantastic, because I can show you how to isolate the hat. Yeah, okay, great. So let's do that. Let's isolate the hat. We're going to take it a little bit of a step further here. So this is really going to bother me, y'all, that I have to go through and fix this. But anyways, we'll work through it. This is where you can use node editing to your advantage too. So I'm going to bring the opacity down. When you are in the node editor, you can double click on, well, let me convert this to a path first. I'll have to convert to a path, object to path. And I can go ahead and I can shape this how I need it. All right. And I'm going to bring this up to about here. And I'm going to bend this out to about there. Double click on the line to add another node. I'm going to bring that there. What I'm going to try to do is just get it very close to the top of this hat. And it takes a little bit of time, y'all. It does. It's painful, but once you get the hang of it, you're like, it's like riding a bike, right? You're like, how come I haven't been doing this my whole freaking life? I'm going to pull that down a little. And, okay, because we have that little lippy there, I'm going to leave that. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. This is what happens when I work after working. I just did it backwards. Okay. Sorry. I did it backwards. I want to go over the hat, not the snowman. Silly me. Sorry, Lisa. I'm like, golly gracious. I did it backwards. I want to go over the hat. Let me try that again. Okay. Should be a little bit easier. Object to path. That way I can easily edit my notes. So I'm going to move this down like this. I'm going to bring this in about there. I'm going to bring that in. Whoop. And then I'm going to go to edit nodes. Double click to add one in. I'm going to bring that to about there. I'm going to drag this corner up. I'm going to bring this one out. And I'm going to drag this one in. I'm going to add another node there. And I'm going to bring that up to about there, right above the eye, so I don't have to deal with that. Like I said, this can be a little bit painful, but... And I'll add one more node in. Why the heck not? I'm going to make sure. Okay, I'm not overlapping there. Good. And I'm going to add one here. I'm just going to bring this out so that way we can make sure that's smooth. Okay, now that I have over the right place, we're just going to go ahead and select our snowman and our hat. And we're going to go to Path, Intersection. Again, it's going to leave me with just the hat part. So there's a little bit of node cleanup that we're going to have to do here, but not too bad. So I would just recommend deleting that little guy there. And then... we can make that a corner. We can make that a corner, and that's just going to straighten that out. And up here, I'm just going to delete these 3 nodes. And we're going to make that a corner. And we're going to make this a corner. So now you have your hat, okay? And the next thing that you're going to want to do is go to Path, Break Apart. Now here's a trick. There's a little hole right here. I bet you can't see that, okay? You want that hole to be cut out. So we're going to deselect the hole. See that hole? This is where it gets a little tricky because you want that to be cut out. It's a kind of a small piece, but for the effects of this, you want it to be cut out. So I just wanted to make that point right there. So let me go to Break Apart. So we're going to select everything, but I'm going to come in here and I got to bring, you'll see that this is just the outline. I got to bring that all the way to the back. Okay. Sometimes I like to select the outline and bring it all the way to the back so I can see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to Path, Union. All right. You're going to be left with just that one little black piece, which is the hole. And then I should be able to go to Path, Combine, and there's your little hole. Okay. So a little bit of an extra step if you want that hole there. If you don't want that hole there, then forget it. Okay. But here we go. I'm going to go ahead. Let me, just for the sake of snowmen all around the world, I'm going to keep that orange. We're going to bring this guy back over. So I guess keep that in mind when you are creating the actual file because you would want that in the outline. Maybe. I don't know. So that's up to you. You can keep it or leave it. It's really entirely up to you. But when we did that Path, Break Apart, you'd have to do the same thing. So the first layer on this is always going to be the big outline. So if you bring it all the way to the back, you could ideally select everything, zoom in, deselect that, go to Path, Union, and then Path, Combine. I probably was missing a little piece there. There's a way to get that little hole there. I'm not going to fret it right now on this because my OCD will spend the next forever on it. Okay, I'm going to make sure snapping is turned on. And as you can see, the hat has snapped to the top here. Okay, so now you have your little hat piece. It's not going to be completely perfect, but I think you get the general idea. So you would just follow that process for the rest of the pieces on here that you would want to cut out. I mean, the eyes are pretty straightforward. Okay. You could even just do, oh God, this is going to irritate me. Turn snapping off. Turn that opacity down. Okay, great. I'm so glad. You know, this is what happens. I've been working on the Affinity Designer course, and the keyboard shortcuts are different there. And I keep trying to use the keyboard shortcuts on Inkscape, and it's not working, obviously. All right, there are your eyeballs. And you could even go ahead and do these circles. If you wanted to do them one by one, you could. Or you could, you know, you don't have to do them one by one. You could do them all the same. So to do that, there I go again. Control D to duplicate. Control D to duplicate. And really the biggest thing is you want to just make sure that none of these are kind of touching the other outline. Select all three, go to Path, Union. It's going to unionize it. Select your snowman. And then go to Path, intersection. There are your 3 lines. And the reason why I'm kind of going through these pretty quickly is I just want to show you that it is possible to do this once you get the hang of things at a fairly rapid-ish speed. It just takes a little bit of practice. And then Control D again. If you wanted just the mittens. And I mean, like I said, you can do it with multiple pieces if that's something that you wish to do. It's just, I wouldn't say a little bit more complicated. It's just sometimes a little bit easier to do one by one. I haven't worked in Inkscape in a while. All right, that's pretty good. I don't want all that hullabaloo right there, though. So it can be a bit of a tedium, but, you know, these would be great little gifts. My kids would probably like to do something like this. I just don't own a Glowforge, so. You can take these two, go to Path, Union, and click your snowman and go to Path Intersection, okay? And then Path, Break Apart, Path, Union, Path, Union, and if you even want to unionize them one more time, you can. It's going to keep them in one solid piece, but that's more for like the SVG cutters of the world, I suppose. Force of habit. There you go. So, I mean, he's coming along slowly but surely. Oh, I'm so glad, Lisa. I try to, I don't want to say dumb things down, but that's really what I'm trying to do, is just make this program easier for people to understand, because it was super intimidating for me when I started working with Inkscape. I was like, I don't know what any of these icons mean. It seems like a very powerful tool. It's free. I mean, why is everybody paying all this money for Illustrator when you can make just as good stuff out of Inkscape? Unless you're doing some really fancy stuff. But I mean, you could do everything in here, really. This is going to bother me. I forgot to break these apart. There we go. So, I mean, really the last piece here would kind of be the scarf, I guess, and the snow would be a separate piece as well if you wanted that to overlay on the top. Or you could get rid of it entirely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I need to go over. I think you're probably the only one watching right now. I'm not sure if anybody else is still on. I'm happy to answer any more questions if there are any more questions. Like I said, I'm just here kind of, I was going to work on Affinity Designer tonight, but then I was like, you know what? I can take care of this tutorial. There'll be something different. And if it works well, then I can do more of these, like Teach Me Tuesdays or whatever, where we can kind of go over different stuff. But I'm not really seeing anything on the chat right now, so I think we're good. Hopefully the audio came through okay. Hopefully the streaming came through okay. I'll find out when I go through and look at the playthrough later. Do you think that there's another way to do this? Like an easy way? No. The only other way, really, you could achieve this is if you're creating all these pieces yourself. Well, I take that back. There is another way you could probably do it. So, there is a tool. It is called the Bezier Pen Tool. Okay. And you have these 3 pens here. They have a Bezier Pen Tool, they have a freehand, which is your pencil, and they have the calligraphy brush. But with the Bezier Pen Tool, you can actually do the same thing, virtually, just by tracing. So if you have your snapping on, this will help. But basically what you can do is try to find a node, and it's really hard to see. There's a tiny little X on my screen. It said handle the smooth node. So when you have snapping on, which is this little magnet up here in the top right corner, it will go ahead and trace to that. So, I mean, you could ideally go through and do this and kind of click on each node with the pen tool and kind of go around and just do this trace. And I'm going to show you what it looks like once I get around it. But it is, I don't want to say painful, but it is painful. I think the other way of doing the trace bitmap and then breaking apart and unionizing it, if you're taking another image, will work out well. So, I mean, I messed up the end of the nose there, but that's what it would look like if you were to trace around it with the pen. You could do that. Personally, I think for images like this, it would take way too long compared to what I just showed you with the intersection. And the only reason why you're intersecting things is because you want these little like cookie cutter pieces, right? Ideally, the Glowforge would cut these little pieces out, and then, yeah, the first way is easier. The second way is more painful. I guess if you're really proficient with the pen tool, then maybe it would be beneficial, but I'm just not very good with it right now. I'm still practicing, and I've been using Inkscape for like 5 or 6 years now. So, it's just different. But that's how you would do it. That's how I would handle it if I was trying to achieve something like that. I even, probably what I'll end up doing later is just taking these pieces and cutting them out of cardstock just to see what they look like, but I think it'll be pretty good. Okay, so yeah, that's all I got. I mean, it's 9:30 here. I gotta wake up at 5 to go to work tomorrow and drive an hour there and back. I actually go on site tomorrow. Woo woo. So I'm gonna go upstairs and hang out with my hubby before bed, and just kind of chill and play some games on my phone. But I really hope that this helped, Lisa. I know that I was trying to explain it through text earlier, and I was like, just taking forever. So, yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm here for. I love helping. I love doing what I can to help. I'm happy to do these anytime. Anytime you have any questions, you know, we can always work out stuff like this. So yeah, let me see if, oh yeah, okay, I can switch over to my webcam now. Hopefully this looks okay. Hopefully it was successfully swapped over. We'll find out in a second. And yeah, I mean, that's all I have. I'm not going to go through anything else tonight. My brain is fried. I've literally been reading documents all day. So more computer time is just not what I wanted. But I'm happy to do these anytime. Just let me know. And yeah, if y'all need anything else, go ahead, join up on the Facebook group. Happy to help there. You can find a link for that in the description box below. If you hate social media, that's cool. You can email me. You can find me on some other platforms, though I don't really use them very frequently. And you can comment on, you know, whatever you need. So look for me over there, and I will catch everybody later. I hope you all have a great night, and I will talk to y'all soon. Shooting Star SVG.